Hello traders, how are you doing? It's Footy Trader here from myfootballtrading.com with another video where I will be looking at the odds for the upcoming weekend for the league games, and obviously to see if there is anything worth attention, if the odds are incorrect in any case. I want to start, however, with a quick recap of yesterday. I was a little bit involved, not a particularly good day. Close to making a three-digit profit. In the end, I lost something around 60 or 70. So there you go. All the games were in all the games something different happened, and this is why I want to start from that. So I started yesterday with this game in Sweden, Elfsborg Norrköping. What happened was that there was a red card in 17th minute. You can see that the home team were pretty strong favorites, but they got a red card in 17th minute. Just after 6 minutes after scoring the opening goal. So the odds at that point of time were around 1-6. I've disagreed with those odds and I've laid Elfsborg. I think it was a entry at halftime. But anyway, in 55th minute, Norrköping equalized, made it 1-1. They were dominating in the second half, at least at the start of the second half. Later it changed, but at the start of the second half they've dominated. You can see in this chart, and I've decided to lay the draw, and that gave me like plus 70 on Norrköping to win, and the initial liability was I think around 30, and when it was 1-2, I let the trade to run, but in the end, the home team kind of unexpectedly scored, made it 2-2, and and that meant like plus 10 for me instead of plus 70. So there you go. It's very small profit, could have been a lot better. And then later, I first decided to get involved in this game, Brest against Sturm Graz from Austria. It was a game where it was 1-1 at halftime. The home team were the favorites, not very huge favorites, but they were the favorites. They scored the opening goal, then there was an own goal. Very late in the first half. I went for 2 goals in second half, so basically I laid 1-1, 2-1 and 1-2. The third goal was scored in 56th minute. I could have cleared the red there and reduced the profit by doing that. I decided to take an aggressive approach, let this run. 56th minute, plenty of time for another goal. There was a red card even in 88th minute, but the score didn't change, so a little bit unfortunate. And the third one was a crazy one, Monaco against Barcelona. And what happened was that Barcelona started with the red card. I then wanted to back Monaco, but I didn't make it, as 5 or 6 minutes later they took the lead already. I then thought that there is still value in getting involved. I wanted to back 3-0, 3-1 and any other home win, because with 70 minutes to go, I was expecting more goals from Monaco. Now, out of nowhere, in the 28th minute, Barcelona equalized, and normally my 3-1 back bet was matched. 3-0 luckily wasn't, and any other home win wasn't either. So later I decided, with 1-1 being the score and 3-1 covered, I have added 3-2 to it, and any other home win in case there were goals in second half. In 71st minute, Monaco took the lead 2-1, so really wanted that 3-1 goal to be scored. They had a penalty cancelled in 87th minute. In the end, the game ended 2-1, so very unfortunate there. I had like plus 60 on 3-1. I had here plus 50 on 2-2 and 3-1, so that's like plus 110 potentially, and here on 2-1 I had plus 70. So yeah, I could have won like 180, and instead I lost around 60 or 70, 60 I think. So so there you go. It happens. Never getting emotional. These are just two events that I lost money. As I mentioned on the Discord, you know, there's plenty more to be involved in. So yeah, but pretty unfortunate, yeah, with these ones. Okay, but the main purpose of today's video is to look at what's upcoming. 4 leagues: Premier League, La Liga, Serie A and Bundesliga. So let's see together at the odds. I have my spreadsheet ready here. I have updated the team categories. So basically, and there is still a question mark around the categories, because, you know, still only few games were played. You know, it's not that easy yet to assess the strength of a team. We have only a limited portion of data to work with, but this is the best I could do. So yeah, let's have a look at what's ahead of us. Okay. Right. So bear with me for a second. I'm just pulling out the exchange, and I'm looking at the Premier League first. All right, here it is. Okay, Premier League. So let's see, we have the colors. Let's see what the market is telling us. Okay, so West Ham against Chelsea is the first one. And okay, we have 3.75 and 204. I will add the odds and then we'll analyze. Aston Villa Wolves 1-6 currently on the exchanges, and 6 for Wolves. Fulham Newcastle 296 and 258. Leicester against Everton 266, Everton 294. We have Liverpool against Bournemouth 131, 1005. Southampton and Ipswich 234, 3.3. Spurs against Brentford. Okay. Okay, we have 159 and we have 5.8. Crystal Palace United 296 and 246. Brighton Nottingham Forest 181 and 4.9. Manchester City Arsenal, a big one, 187 for Manchester City and 5 for Arsenal. Okay, now so what do we have? Let's see from the top. West Ham against Chelsea, and I will also pull in the league table and some recent results. Okay, got it. So Chelsea 8th in the table at the moment. West Ham 14th. Pretty fair odds, right? I would say. Chelsea being the favorites despite playing away, but they won 2 games in 4. West Ham only 1 in 4. So I'm not gonna argue with those odds. Aston Villa Wolves 1-6 for Aston Villa. Is it justified? Well, Aston Villa 3 wins in 4 games. They have only been beaten by Arsenal. Wolves without a win, 4 goals only in 4 games. 1-6 Aston Villa at home is pretty fair in my opinion. So here, if I select yes, then I will add it to my watch list, by the way, for whoever is new. Fulham, Newcastle. Now, Newcastle 3rd in the table at the moment. 3 wins in 4 games. Fulham 12th. But only 1 loss. They lost with Manchester United in an away game. Newcastle favorites 2.58. We can do a comparison. So they were 2.16 last week against Wolves. This time they are 2.58 around with Fulham. We can agree that Fulham is performing better than Wolves. So yeah, I think I can accept that. Leicester against Everton, pretty evenly matched. Both teams struggling, no wins. Leicester slight favorites because they play at home. Yeah, it's fine as it is. So Liverpool, they lost, with Nottingham Forest. They lost at home in the last game. Now they are facing Bournemouth. Bournemouth, who also lost to Chelsea at home 1-0. Liverpool will need to win. I think that's a good price. They will be. They can't afford, two losses in a row. So this is a must win for them. All right, next one is Southampton against Ipswich. We don't want to discuss that. Southampton only 1 goal in 4 games, 4 losses. Ipswich also no wins, 2 goals in 4 games, 17th and 19th in the table, both teams. The market is giving more chances to Southampton, 42% for a win, because they are playing at home. That makes sense. Spurs against Brentford. This is something that I would like to think about a little bit more, because Spurs won only 1 game in 4 and they defeated Everton 4-0. They drew with Leicester, they lost with Newcastle, and they lost with Arsenal. Brentford, however, they lost with Manchester City 2-1. They lost with Liverpool 2-0, so you can excuse them. But they defeated Southampton 3-1 and they defeated Crystal Palace 2-1. Now, is it that Spurs at home have 62% chance of winning and Brentford only 17%? I would put a question mark here. Let me just check something. Tottenham, Brentford. Just out of curiosity. Yeah, when they faced each other last season, and I know it's a new season, but for the record, the games were closed. It was 2-2 in the first game, and then it was 3-2 to Tottenham. So it was always very close. I think 1.59 is a little bit an exaggeration. I'll have a look at the starting lineups and maybe do a trade there. So, but yeah, I will add it to the watch list. This one, Crystal Palace, Manchester United. Okay, so we have Manchester United being 10th, Crystal Palace 16th. Crystal Palace without the win. Manchester United 2 wins, 2 losses. Lost with Liverpool, lost with Brighton. I think that's a fair price. I don't know. I don't trust Manchester United enough to invest money in them, at least yet, at least at this stage of the season. I agree that they have more chances of winning. That's what I can say. Now, Brighton-Nottingham Forest should be a good game. Both teams 2 wins, 2 draws. Both teams undefeated. Brighton at home. This is why they are having more chances. However, they drew at Ipswich 0-0 in the first game. In the last game actually. Drew Arsenal 1-1. Nottingham defeated Liverpool. Crazy results. I think we should just leave it as it is and not be involved. Now, City Arsenal, 187 for Manchester City, despite the fact that so both teams had a 0-0 draws. Yeah, Manchester City drew Inter 0-0 at home, and Atalanta drew with Arsenal 0-0. Last game ended 0-0. Manchester City. And yeah, actually, in the last season, in the first game, Arsenal won at home 1-0 with Manchester City. Yeah. 187 and 5. I think this is not correct. I mean, I wouldn't say that Manchester City are 2.67 times better than Arsenal. Manchester City, that the Arsenal chance of beating Manchester City is only 20%. It pretty much depends. It would be good. I'll add it to the watch list, but I won't be involved before the kickoff. I will see how the game develops and then maybe get involved later. Yeah, but I think that 5 for Arsenal to win is kind of generous. I'm very curious if you agree with me on that or not. Okay. Moving on to La Liga, and let's see the La Liga odds. So just opening them, bear with me, it's Spain. All right, and here it is, La Liga. Alaves and Sevilla, it's this one. We have 2.24. and 3.85. Yeah. Okay. Then we have Real Valladolid, 4.1 and 2.28 for Real Sociedad. Osasuna Las Palmas is 196, 4.7. Valencia Girona, this one we have 3 and 2.64. Real Madrid against Espanyol, 118, yeah, and 22 for Espanyol. Getafe and Leganés, 2.14, 5.2. Athletic Bilbao against Celta at home is 174 and 5.5 for Celta. We have Villarreal against Barcelona first, 4.2 for Villarreal and 1.89 for Barcelona. And then we have Atletico Madrid 1.86 and 5.4. Very interesting. And then Betis against Mallorca, we have 192 and 5.2. All right. So let's have a closer look now. what do we have? Okay, and where is my league table? Okay, here it is. So Athletic Bilbao at home, yeah, it's 5th against 6th in the table at the moment, but Atletico at home is just great. Yeah, they lost with Atletico Madrid, but you can excuse them, and I think that they are able to beat Celta, and yeah. For me, you can see that Bilbao is category 3, Celta is category 4, Atletico playing at home 174 seems fair. Betis against Mallorca, well, this one is 7th against 8th. The market agrees that if we assume Celta equals Mallorca, that Betis is not as strong as Atletico, so the market is giving them 1.9 instead of 1.7. Perhaps the odds for Real Betis should be higher, but I think they are still without Isco, and Mallorca, yeah, they won with Leganés in an away game. They lost with Osasuna. I wouldn't be going against those odds. Betis pretty strong at home. Defeated Getafe, defeated Leganés, drew with Girona. I will leave this game. Getafe, Leganés, not sure that's something that I want to be involved in. Leganés, 15th in the table, only 1 win. Getafe, no wins. It's best to just leave this game alone. But it's not that the odds are incorrect, right? Again, the market is favoring the home team. And same thing here, right? Deportivo Alavés today against Sevilla. Deportivo 10th, Sevilla 14th. Deportivo Alavés, yeah, they drew Betis at home. Yeah, I think it's fair to assume that they have more chances to win this game. Sevilla pretty poor away last season. This season they had 2 draws. Yeah, I think it's nothing to argue with. This one, Rayo Vallecano, 9th in the table against Atletico Madrid. So Rayo lost with Espanyol. I'm looking at their away. No, sorry, actually, I need to look at the home games. So at home, Rayo Vallecano, they beat Osasuna 3-1, but they lost with Barcelona 1-2. So it wasn't that easy. 1-8 for Atletico Madrid is I think, an acceptable price. But let's compare this to Barcelona. So for me, Villarreal is... Okay, so there is something wrong, because Villarreal is definitely stronger than Rayo Vallecano. Villarreal 4th, undefeated. So the odds for Barcelona and Atletico cannot be the same. Cannot be the same for those teams, because those teams are not the same. So the same strength. So it's either Barcelona should be higher because they are facing a stronger team, or Atletico Madrid should be lower. And from those 2 options, I think that it's my second thought, that Atletico Madrid should be lower against Rayo Vallecano. Just out of curiosity, where they were facing them last season, what happened? Oh, Jesus. So in August 2023, Atletico won 7-0 against Vallecano, and then at home in January they won 2-1. Okay, so with that, I'll take this as a yes and this as a no. So my way of thinking is that those Atletico Madrid odds should be lower if this is what the market is is having. Valencia, very poor performance. Bottom of the table, 20th, 10 goals conceded, only 3 scored, 1 draw, 4 defeats. And they are facing Girona, middle of a table team. 2 wins, one against Osasuna 4-0, Sevilla 2-0, Valencia very much struggling. I think 264. Wait. Valencia at home. Yeah, at home they drew Villarreal and they lost with Barcelona 1-2. Girona away. Drew with Betis, lost with Atletico Madrid, and they won with Sevilla 2-0. 264 seems pretty generous for Girona, so let's have a closer look at that game. So adding it to the watch list. Here, Valladolid, Sociedad, both teams next to each other in the table, 16th, 17th. Yeah, Real Sociedad definitely a stronger team. Despite playing away, the market is giving them advantage. I will agree with that. Osasuna, Las Palmas. Las Palmas 19th. Osasuna 13th. I won't be getting involved. This is poorly performing teams, really. Not scoring many goals. 6 in 5. So, yeah. And Real Madrid, I mean, I can't go against them at home against the team that was promoted. Yeah. So that's a no. And now, moving very quickly to Serie A in Italy. So again, let's very quickly start with the odds. Okay, and there we go. Today, Cagliari against Empoli. Where is it? Cagliari, Empoli. Here, I have a lot of green teams. Category 4. A lot of them because we don't know what their true strength is. Not too many games played. Yeah. Anyway, Cagliari against Empoli, 228, 375. That's interesting. Verona against Torino. That's even more interesting. 2.88 and 305. Venezia against Genoa. 335. That's more like it. 252. Juventus against Napoli. Okay, Juventus at home, 234, 3.6. I think pretty fair. Lecce against Parma, 226 at home against Parma, 3.5. Fiorentina against Lazio. We have 238 and 3.4. Monza against Bologna. This one we have 3.4 and 2.52. Roma against Udinese. This one 169 and Udinese 5.9. That's a mystery. And then a big one, Inter against Milan, 171. Not too many chances for AC Milan. And then Atalanta against Como. We have 151 and 7.6. So let's see, because there are at least a couple of strangely looking odds. Okay, so Serie A table we have in front of us, and let's have a closer look. Okay, so starting with Torino against Lecce. No, it's not that. Atalanta against Como. Como just promoted to Serie A, still without the win. Atalanta struggling a bit, but they're at home. They should win. 1-5 makes perfect sense. Cagliari against Empoli. This one is interesting because Empoli, believe it or not, are still undefeated. 4 games and 3 draws. They are undefeated. Should Cagliari be the favorites at home? Cagliari, who scored 1 goal in 4 games. They drew 2 and lost 2. I wouldn't be so sure. Empoli, if we look at their away games, they drew with Bologna 1-1 and they won with Roma. So Cagliari being the favorites? No. Which means yes, adding to the watch list. Fiorentina against Lazio, similar thing, yeah? Fiorentina 14th in the table, no wins, pretty much all their games are draws. Lazio, not too very much convincing, but they defeated Venezia, defeated Verona, drew with Milan. Fiorentina, the favorites, they drew with Monza at home 2-2. They were not able to beat Venezia 0-0. So I don't think I would consider them favorites in this game. Inter and Milan is okay. Juventus and Napoli for me is okay. Lecce against Parma, this one, yeah, two teams, 4 points in 4 games next to each other. Lecce favorites at home makes sense. Monza against Bologna, yeah, again, this one, I don't know. The odds are flipped for me. I mean, Monza should be 2.5 and Bologna 3.4 because Bologna is surely underperforming. But those are two teams that didn't win a game, and you don't want to get involved in this one, really. Roma against Udinese. So if the team names were playing, that would be correct. But what's happening in reality is different, right? Roma, without a win in 4 games, only 3 draws, and to make things worse, they scored only 2 goals in 4 games. At home, they lost with Empoli, Jesus, 1-2, yes. And drew with, no, that was not their only home game. They lost 1-2 against Empoli. Udinese, on the other hand, they are on the top of the league. Drew with Bologna, defeated Lazio, defeated Como, and defeated Parma. Wasn't easy, 3-2. But they are first, they are top of on the table. They will fight. They will fight against Roma. Roma, that is not convincing. And in those circumstances, is Roma 3.5 times better than Udinese? Is there a chance 60% of winning? It's not. So I think there is value here in going against Roma. But always, as with everything, check the starting lineups and decide whether it is more valuable to get involved before kickoff or wait and see how the game develops. But adding to the watch list, definitely. Venezia against Genoa. Okay, Venezia, 1 goal in 4 games, only promoted to Serie A. Genoa, 4 goals in 4 games, but only 1 win. They stopped Inter, by the way, at home, but this is an away game. And yeah, they stopped Roma, they stopped Inter, so that's impressive. They should stop. They should get at least a draw. I think Venezia odds should be way higher. They only drew with Fiorentina 0-0 and then they lost everything. So yeah, here we go. Let's add it. And Verona against Torino. Well, Verona 7th, Torino 5th, but Verona lost 2 games against Lazio and against Juventus. Torino undefeated. So should be a close game. The odds are close. Hellas Verona at home, maybe that's why the market is saying they are slightly better. Torino, playing away, they drew with Milan. They defeated Venezia, but that's not a big thing to do. Verona at home lost to Juventus. They can be excused, but at the same time they defeated Napoli. So yeah, should be an even game. So that one let's leave. Okay, and then very closely moving to the last game. I know that this video is long, but it's the last one now. Bundesliga, here we go. The odds, let's just start. Augsburg, Mainz today, 248. 248. 3.1. Bochum, Holstein, Kiel, 202.4. Union Berlin, Hoffenheim, 208, 3.9. Werder Bremen, 8.6. Yeah, 131. I wish it was 1.6. 138 for Bayern München. Heidenheim, 2.84 and 2.64 for Freiburg. Eintracht Frankfurt, Mönchengladbach 182, 4.5, and Leverkusen 132 against Wolfsburg at home. That are 11. Stuttgart against Dortmund 2.4. Wait, what? 2.98? Okay. That's strange. By the way, I have to do this. That's strange. And the last one, we'll get back to that. St. Pauli 5.9 and 1.67. Still generous. Okay, let's see. Because also there is something that doesn't add up, that doesn't make sense. Bundesliga. Okay, we have the table and the first game. Augsburg against Mainz. So we have Mainz, I should say. Yeah. My German, yeah, is poor. So I'm not gonna go there. Augsburg against, Mainz. Augsburg 11th, Mainz 15th, Mainz without the win, Augsburg 1 win. Yeah, they are the favorites, they are at home. Makes sense. Yeah. 16th in the table meets 18th in the table. Home team has an advantage. We are not going to touch that. Poorly performing teams. Union Berlin at home, 9th in the table. Favorites at home, undefeated for some reason, Union Berlin. Hoffenheim started poorly, 2 defeats in 3 games. Union Berlin, in these circumstances, they have to be favorites at home. So that's fine. Bayern München, yeah, can't argue with Bayern München. A team that defeated, Dinamo Zagreb, yeah, 9-2. Jesus Christ, yeah. Okay. Anyway, Heidenheim against Freiburg. Heidenheim surprisingly good. They lost 1 game in 3. But with Dortmund, and they were fighting. It was 4-2, so, they are facing Freiburg at home, who also lost 1 game with Bayern München. They are excused. Defeated Stuttgart, defeated Bochum, should be a close one. Should be a close one, and the odds reflect that. Should be a close game, so I agree. Frankfurt favorites against Mönchengladbach, definitely. Frankfurt 6th. Lost with Dortmund only, then they won 2. Mönchengladbach defeated Bochum, lost with Bayer Leverkusen, lost with Stuttgart. So yeah, Frankfurt at home will be favorites against Mönchengladbach. And then, Leverkusen, Wolfsburg is underperforming. Leverkusen are at home. They will be like a machine, so yes. And here is something wrong. Okay, while I agree that Stuttgart is kind of category 4 team and St. Pauli is category 6, so, and Borussia equals Leipzig, more or less, yeah. So the odds for Leipzig has to be lower than for Borussia Dortmund. But still, Leipzig, okay. So they defeated Bochum, defeated Bayer Leverkusen, the champions, so not a bad thing. And then they surprisingly drew with Union Berlin, but Union Berlin, undefeated. They face a team that is at the very bottom of the table. 1 goal, 3 games, 3 losses. 167. No. 167 is too high. I know they are playing away, but 167, no. And still here, so Stuttgart, Dortmund. Okay, Dortmund, 7 points in 3 games. They drew with Werder Bremen away, which was kind of a little bit surprising. But Stuttgart got 4 points in 3 games. Bremen got 5. Okay, Dortmund drew, but in any way, they shouldn't be. The odds for Dortmund shouldn't be higher than for Stuttgart. There's just no way. I think this is an opportunity. I know that Stuttgart was doing pretty good last season. If we look at last season, they have even defeated Borussia Dortmund twice, but it's a different season. And yeah, Stuttgart were second, but they are not second this season. Now Dortmund is second and Stuttgart is 10th. They drew with Mainz 3-3. They defeated Mönchengladbach, but then they lost with Freiburg 3-1. So, Stuttgart for me shouldn't be the favorites. Should be a good game to trade, so definitely add it to the watch list. Okay, so that's the end of the exercise. Those are the games that I have on my watch list. Whether, I will get involved before the game or in play, we'll need to decide closer to when the game starts. Apart from that, I will, of course, be looking at some other in-play opportunities. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm more than happy to see your comments. What you think is wrong, which games the markets have wrong for the upcoming weekend. Happy trading and bye-bye.